Now, you have written, Professor McLuhan, that printing created nationalism and it created individualism. How did it do that?
Print, for example, created what we call the reading public. There was no reading public in the Middle Ages, in the age of the manuscript. There were many kinds of publics. Today, at very high speeds of information, there is no longer a reading public. There are multitudes of reading publics, multitudes of listening publics, viewing publics, many, many kinds of publics. There used to be, in the 19th century, a much more unified public. In the 18th century, very much so too. But since the electric age, we have decentralized, and nationalism is collapsing on all fronts in our time into tribalism or into all sorts of little small cultures. Well, with the coming of print, it became possible for the first time for people speaking a single language to have a common political form based upon the written word. And nobody expected this. Nobody dreamt that there could be such a thing as a national unity coming out of a uniform printing press in which their own language was translated into this visual medium.
What then is the future of print? What will happen to it?
Well, as you can see right now that printing takes many forms, unexpected new forms, including color. Printing, I should think, is in a more revolutionary state today of innovation and development than it has ever been. And we speak of prints, voice prints. With printing has now extended its area of efficacy to many, many fields of the photographic and to the video world and to various forms of recording and so on, which are still prints. Printing has become an enormously diversified area, whereas formerly it had been relatively limited. And going with each new technology is a new public. Now, we're not prepared for this, and it means that national unity breaks down very rapidly under these fast-moving conditions. And so all sorts of dissonant groups pop up, where formerly there'd been a relative homogeneity. Now, this is not necessarily good, and I think it may well be that people will anticipate many of the consequences of innovation in the future and say no.
As in the case of the SST, perhaps?
Possibly. I think that we are moving rapidly toward a time when people will inquire about what will be the consequences of this innovation as it hits into this and that field. And people will say, well, it will be revolutionary and astounding, but I don't think we're able to take it. I don't think that we can absorb that variety of shocks and that variety of changes in a very short time. Most people take a long while to adjust to quite simple changes. And when invited to readjust their entire lives every few years to very vast changes, people tend to fall apart. The loss of private identity under electric conditions has created dropoutism on a fantastic scale.